I just want to start off by saying, listen, congratulations to the guys. You know, as I just told them, sometimes you don't get to pick the formula on how to win. And maybe sometimes you think the game's going to play out a certain way, plays out a little different. You know, we didn't particularly have a very good fourth quarter there, but found a way to make a play at the end of the game. Obviously, Brian with the huge block, phenomenal job by him. You know, but listen, the things we did well, obviously our defense, you know, pretty much controlled the entire game until the last quarter there. They started to move the ball a little bit, and obviously had a couple of chunk plays. But overall, obviously very happy with the defense in terms of the way we stopped the run. You know, overall, you know, Drew Lock ended up being their leading rusher. That's something we got to look at, something that's kind of hit us a few times this year with the long quarterback scrambles. We got to examine that a little bit. But as far as their actual running game goes, the two running backs combined for 53 yards, and that was a huge part of why we thought we could win this game today, and it's a huge part of why we won the game. You know, we got to get some things cleaned up. I thought our offense and our special teams had one of the worst halves of maybe the worst half of the year in the first half. We turned around and made some plays there in the second half, and obviously it's kind of ironic that we end up winning the game on a special teams play because we were having one of our worst days in recent memory. So, but again, great job of finding a way to win. It's never easy to win in this league, and so at least, you know, we come out on the road. We respond from last week. We get a W and go home with a win, and try to figure out some of these other things we got to get figured out. Yeah, listen, he's got a left hand that they're looking at. We'll kind of see what's going on with that. I really don't have any other information than that. They're going to do all the scans and the X-rays and all that, so we'll kind of play that by ear. But you know, when he dove, when he made a phenomenal effort on his part to try to, you know, keep our drive going and get a first down there, just an unselfish player diving over the top there. He came down, and I think he tried to put his hand down to brace himself, and I think he just hurt his hand a little bit. So we'll see what they say.
He said it was a concussion too.
Yeah, I also believe he might be in the concussion protocol. I got to confirm that. But right now, I was really talking more about his hand. He may be in the concussion protocol as well. We'll see what happens there.
And it's his left that was announced this, right?
It was his left hand.
Rich, the cameras caught a impassioned exchange between you and Tayball after that punt return that got called. Just kind of
That's what you're calling it, a passionate exchange. A passionate exchange. Well, listen, I'm passionate about everything. And listen, everybody has a job to do. Everybody has a 1/11th to do. You guys that follow our team know that I'm a big accountability guy, and that was a big part of our game plan today. And he wasn't executing the game plan. So I'm gonna say this: his last punt was outstanding, and it really helped us. Actually, I think his last two punts, second to last punt in particular, was really, really good. Pinning them back, didn't get any return yards. That's really what we were trying to do all day. Our first three punts weren't good enough, and so that passionate exchange, I let him know that that's exactly how I felt. So it probably came across a little bit more than that, but me and Matt are fine.
Are you talking to both of y'all during the exchange?
Yeah. Listen, I love AK because AK is a guy that's very, very observant and sees everything. And you guys know that have followed AK for a while. He's a little bit of like a lay in the weeds guy, but he sees everything. He's very, very observant, and you know, he just was trying to be the peacemaker there. So, and he came back around and said, "Riz, man, I never know you'd lose your shit on the punter like that." So I mean, you know, he was just trying to calm me down, just trying to calm. Listen, he's a team guy, and but that's kind of where we're at.
Could you talk about the athleticism from Brazil on that block field? I mean, it was a crazy play for his size.
Phenomenal. Let's play that we started practicing. We've had it in a few times. We kind of put it in this week on Friday. We repped it a couple times on Friday, and it was kind of like we were out there on the field, and it was like we were running it. We're like, hey, you never know. Game could come down to this, and look what happens. It just goes to show you, though, a guy at his size, the athletic ability he just displayed. And I've seen him do it all the time in practice, so I knew he could do it. You know, we were discussing on the headset, myself, Phil, Galliano, and Marwan. We were deciding on what call was the best call, and we were kind of going there. And the last ball that he had hit come out a little bit low, so I wanted to get that, you know, some pressure there in the middle. But really, just an unbelievable, phenomenal job by Brian. Individual effort. You know, there's some other guys there working on the play too to make sure he gets freed up. But you know, outstanding. And it was great to see him make a big play like that, and really a game-winning play.
It wasn't just that play today either. He had a sack, a couple
and really the last couple of weeks, right? And we talked about that during the week. He's a guy that just I feel like his best football is still out there, and you see this flashes of brilliance out of the player between the pass rush, the field goal block. He's made a couple of huge plays a couple of weeks in a row. You're seeing a lot of the reasons we drafted the player. We drafted Brian in the first round. And so these are some of the things we talked about. Some of the things he continued to get better at, first, second down. But man, his pass rush, his field goal rush, those things have been outstanding.
Can you talk a little bit about how important the victory was in terms of keeping you in the mix at this point in the season?
Yeah, huge. I know another one of the teams at the top of our division lost again today, so that it keeps us in the mix. I mean, listen, we're down here to the end of the year. It's the middle of December already, and when you're playing games that still matter and still count and still have a chance to affect the final outcome, that's a big deal. And so here we are with 4 to go, and so as I just said to the guys, that's why we practice with a purpose. We go through the week with a purpose because we're still playing. We're still in contention, and so trying not to be a big picture guy, but it's always nice to have that out there so you can focus on the now and not worry about that, and that there's still that opportunity for us.
Now that it's over, can you say what this meant to get this win here? And were you able to hold off those emotions for most of this week or this day?
Yeah. Listen, I was able to see a lot of family and friends. Phenomenal. My 3 nieces were here, cousins, friends, high school. The high school coach at Bergen Catholic was here. Bergen Catholic had a big contingency. So it's congratulations to them. Just 2 Fridays ago, they won the state championship right here on this field against Don Bosco. So another state championship for them. So it's great to see all those people, my friends I grew up with, some family. So I got a little emotional there when I came out to the field and saw all them. Out there. My immediate family, all those. So just really, really cool. And but as I said at the beginning of the week, once the game kind of started, you got to forget all that. But listen, it's I'm not going to sit here and try to BS you guys. It's to come up here in my home area and get a win on the visiting sideline is something that I probably told you would never ever happen in my life. So that's pretty wild, pretty crazy, and back to focusing on the Saints now and get back on track for next week.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you liked from Kendra Miller and his return today?
Yeah, listen, I think Kendra, again, is showing you why we drafted him where we drafted him. He made some really, really dynamic runs, I thought. Kendra has the unique ability of making an 8-yard run look really, really good. And making people miss, getting some tough yards. And again, just a small sample there. But again, the touchdown run he has where he just keeps his, power. And when I talked about in the beginning of the week, a change of pace back, that's really what I was talking about. A guy that can, just have a little bit of a different style. And that's a big deal. We're losing Taysom. We don't become one-dimensional with Alvin. We have another guy that can get us some tough yards. And so he had a nice kick return today, right? I don't know off the top of my head how many yards, 31-yard kick return. That really nice touchdown run, some really good, make you miss. So, Kendra's got to just stay consistent. That's been his thing, right? So we got to do that again next week. We got to have another good practice week. We got to just, stay healthy. And so those are the things. But you saw the flashes today of the athletic ability. That's the guy we knew we were drafting.
You got a guy like that, and he's maybe beaten down mentally a little bit from all the injuries and all the, the doghouse talk, which obviously you addressed. How important is getting on the field and actually doing it as opposed to, you can talk all you want?
It's very important. It's very important to get out there and just show, there's you can always sit here and say, well, this and well, that, and maybe this and maybe that, but to actually show the proof. And that's the thing about Kendra. The times that he's been on the field for us, like today, you see it. And anybody that knows football sees it. You see a very good running back. That's what you see. And again, is he there yet? Has he reached the pinnacle? No. He's got plenty of room for growth. But staying healthy, staying consistent for him is the big thing. And actually coming out and showing it rather than just saying, oh, he looks good in practice, or, he looked really good in college. You saw it today, what he did. So
to emphasize, pretty much this game offensively wasn't the prettiest, however, to emphasize on that offense and Kendra and several of the other players, you guys had 2 long drives, 9 plays, 4 minutes, 9 play, 5 minutes. What does that say just about this overall offense and just the grittiness to find success in such an ugly offensive game?
Really, those 2 long drives are the game, right? I mean, when it comes down to it, we get pinned back there on a great punt by Jamie for the Giants, and then he did a great job punting the ball today. We really they had all the field position in their favor in the first half. We obviously faked the punt near midfield, missed it by half yard, so they had good field position there. And so they did a really good job. And so when we got pinned back and we went on the long touchdown drive, man, that was a big deal. We talked all week about we had not been good coming out of halftime in the third quarter. Our first couple of drives, our first drive we had to pump it. In that second drive, we go down the field again, chew up a lot of clock, have another scoring drive. And so really, although it may not have been the whole picture might not have been, super pretty today, offensively, those 2 drives essentially were the ones that mattered the most. And so kudos to them. We've got to do a better job of finishing games. We get the ball back there at the end. We don't get a first down. We come up on 3rd and short. We don't get the first. We got a punt, and we gave it back to them. You get the ball back, and I think we had 2 situations today where we got the ball back with a chance to kind of end the game, and we didn't do that. So that's where we got to be better. But our defense clearly in the first half was much better than our offense and special teams, and held them to 3 points, and that's why we were in good position. So and it put us in a really good position to win the game at the end.
When you mentioned Brian, kind of turning it on the last couple of weeks, was there something that clicked for him? I mean, obviously he's had some success in the NFL before, but there's something kind of flipped for him.
I wouldn't say anything as just one particular thing. I think Brian is focusing in on the things that he can get better at. I think BY the last few weeks has opened his eyes to some technique stuff and some things that, can help his game. But man, I mean, there's a young, Brian's young. I mean, he's got a lot of football ahead of him. He stays healthy, and you see the flashes. And that's the thing. There's been times where listen, I've read the narrative. The narrative is, oh man, he flash plays and he disappears for a while. And then that's what he can't do. He's got to just be more consistent. And so the last 2 weeks, he's got a heck of a body of work the last 2 weeks. So that's the key for him and for us, is to keep him where he's been the last couple of weeks and play him more consistent.
You challenge guys with narratives?
Hell yeah.
You make them aware of that?
Absolutely. One of our goals for this game this week as a team was control the narrative. All the narratives out there. We can't stop the run. We're not a good second half offense. All the things. We were 0-4 on our last 4 road games. We were 0-2 on our last 2 outdoor road games. So those are facts and narratives, right? And so my challenge to the guys this week is by your performance, you control that. And so, yeah, not only do we challenge them individually, we challenge them unit-wise, team-wise, so I think that's important. I think it's important that those guys know they can control that.
How do you challenge them individually? I know, Peyton used to find articles written about certain players and put it in their locker.
There's different ways. I mean, honestly, I don't challenge every single guy the same. I'm not going to challenge AK and DeMario and Cam the same way I'm going to challenge some of the younger guys, Kool-Aid and Trevor Penning and Tally and some of the younger guys and Kendre. There's differences there. Guys that have been doing it a long time. So I think the thing you got to be creative as a coach. You got to find different ways to challenge guys, and it really depends on where they are in their career, in my opinion.
Do you take things out of the Parcells playbook?
Oh yeah, I don't want to let too many cats out of the bag, but a lot of that stuff we do. But listen, I challenged Kendre all week, and I'm proud of Kendre. But now the next challenge for him is going to be, can we duplicate, the success and duplicate the production. So appreciate you guys. Thanks so much.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. And yes, I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. And thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And on this edition, we're going to be talking about the Saints' 14-11 victory over the New York Football Giants. The Saints moved to 5-8. And with this victory, the Saints move out of the top 10. That's right. The Saints move out of the top 10 of the NFL draft order. Let me make sure that I'm telling you correctly. The New Orleans Saints moved to number 11 in the NFL draft. And some people will look at that as a positive thing if you want this team to keep being competitive. Some people will look at this as like, what the heck are you doing messing with my draft pick? But you know, with the 11th pick, the New Orleans Saints throughout the years, sitting in that spot, have picked some guys that have done some really good things. Marshawn Lattimore was the 11th pick in the draft. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think the Saints picked Sheldon Rankins around the 11th or the 12th pick or something. So they've gotten some guys in years past with you know, those 10 or 11 picks in the draft. So, man. And am I not mistaken? Was Chris Olave 11th pick in the draft? Was he the 11th pick in the draft? Let me make sure that I'm saying this correctly here. I think Chris Olave may have been the 11th pick in the draft for the New Orleans Saints. So throughout the years, the New Orleans Saints, yeah, he was the 11th pick. So you've gotten Marshawn Lattimore and Chris Olave with the 11th pick in the draft. So not bad, not bad. But this show is powered by BETUS. Sign up today. Get up to 150% on your first deposit, up to 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. Use the promo code YouTube150. First off, wait a minute. Excuse me for a second. Because your boy got to be on his soapbox real quick. You know what I'm saying? The boy got to be on his soapbox. So I got to put on these shades because I got to throw some shade at them Atlanta Falcons. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. The Atlanta Falcons choking away the division and losing 4 consecutive games when they had a 4-game lead in the division. They beat every single team in the division early in the season, went 4-0 in NFC South. All we heard was, man, I got that swag. All this stuff right here, man. All this stuff right here. Man, I got that swag. Da-da-da to my bed. I know I'm popping. I heard all that, right? I'm on hypnotic, exotic, that polo on my body, got a bad chick, was I been a free ride, was I been a swag, right? Heard all that stuff. We swagging, we serving, we swag, we serve, we swag, we serve, we clean like it's detergent. But you must have used some different type of detergent. Maybe it wasn't Tide. Maybe it wasn't Gain. Maybe it's looking like Extra. It's looking like Dollar Tree detergent because them boys put the dirty in Dirty Bird. The Atlanta Falcons, ladies and gentlemen, lost their 4th consecutive game by a score of 42-21. 42-21. And let me make sure that I'm here. Let me make sure. I want to make sure that I'm saying this. I want to make sure I don't want to make no mistake here. I don't want to make no mistake. I don't want to make no mistake. Let me go ahead and put these numbers up. I want to make sure I'm saying this correctly. Kirk Cousins, ladies and gentlemen, Kirk Cousins, 23 of 37, 344 yards, 0 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Ladies and gentlemen, Kirk Cousins has not thrown a touchdown in over a month. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say that again. Kirk Cousins has not thrown a touchdown in over a month. It has been what? Yeah, since November 3rd in a year of our Lord, 2024, that was the last time Kirk Cousins threw an interception. I mean, threw a touchdown, rather. I mean, he's throwing interception. He's throwing more turnovers than a bakery. Kirk Cousins has not thrown a touchdown since November 3rd, 2024, ladies and gentlemen. We are doing this show right now. It is December 8th, 2024. Dude has played. He hasn't missed a game. He wasn't hurt. He has not thrown a touchdown since November 3rd of 2024. All I want to know, where them Falcon fans at that was stockpiling the State of the Saints podcast chat every single week, telling us how our time is up and their time is now, right? Getting a John Cena on, right? The time is up. The time is now. You can't see me. My time is now. It's the franchise and I'm shining now. Y'all ain't shining now, are you? I don't hear that energy now or see that energy now, do I? Because the Falcons are exactly what they have been since their existence. They are choke artists. They are choke artists. The New Orleans Saints. We know what they are. We know that the Saints have had some bad luck throughout this year. 2024 has been a disaster. We're going to talk about how they could possibly lose Derek Carr for the rest of the season. We don't know. We know that this isn't our season. But the fact that the Falcon fans, they showed their hand. They were just waiting for an opportunity to try to feel relevant. They didn't care to try to see the entire season out. They just wanted the grandstand, and they just wanted the hot dog, and they just wanted some type of competitive advantage over the Saints and over the South so they can talk. And this is the reason why I have zero respect. Shots up, by the way. Zero respect for them Atlanta Falcon fans out there because they are grandstanders. They are hot doggers. They want to talk noise with a competitive edge. They want to feel as if they're empowered. Then they want to show up. Real fans show up, talk noise, even when their team isn't looking their best. But the fact that we have started to see, just like that famous Homer Simpson meme, as he is lurking further and further into the bushes where you no longer can see him anymore, thus are Atlanta Falcons fans. I don't want to hear nothing about Kirk Cousins folding. I don't want to hear nothing about Kirk Cousins crashing because we can clearly go to the month of October when he was Mr. October, right? We're not talking about Reggie Jackson here. We're not talking about the famous baseball player Reggie Jackson when we say Mr. October. They told me, ladies and gentlemen, they said Kirk Cousins was Mr. October. 509 yards throwing the football, right? 500 yards he threw for against Tampa. It's our time. It's our moment. And guess what? Now all of a sudden, those same Falcon fans are clamoring for Michael Penix. They're clamoring for Michael Penix. They're ready to throw old Kirk Cousins away after they threw Kirk Cousins in our face, trying to make us feel as if they got something special and the Saints have nothing with Derek Carr, even though we know that's the case, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. All I want to know, where are those Falcon fans? Where y'all at? I know y'all see me. Y'all probably waiting for your team to maybe turn a corner, and maybe you will, right? You got some low-hanging fruit that's coming your way pretty soon. I think you got to play the Raiders in Las Vegas next week. That should be a win, right? You got the Giants on deck. I think that they basically exhausted everything that they had in this game today. So y'all get some low-hanging fruit, and y'all probably backpedal y'all way into the postseason because you basically caught some low-hanging fruit and some teams that say Cancun on 3. But we all know what the reality is. The reality is the Falcons are going to go to the postseason more than likely because they'll probably have the same record as the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And just like the Saints and the Bucks, they had the same identical record. It came down to the tiebreaker. So Tampa went into the postseason. And the Falcons are going to go into the postseason, and they're going to go up against a team that has been competitive the entire season, like the Rams. And they're going to go into Atlanta, smack them around, and take their lunch money. And the Falcons won't have too far to go. They'll be right at home. And then the Falcons will probably stand up and rise up like they do and catch that low-hanging fruit, which is a snake-bitten, terrible division. And they'll say, well, at least we made the playoffs, not even understanding that your team is terrible and have been terrible. So congratulations, Atlanta. You're doing Atlanta things, right? You're doing Atlanta Falcon things right now, which is choking away the division. I don't like, even if y'all end up winning the division, you had a 4-game lead and you have to scratch and bite and claw your way to the division title, which is absolutely hilarious. So funny. So hilarious. So Falcons. But back to some serious business. The New Orleans Saints knock off the New York Football Giants by a score of 14-11. Look, this game was boring. If you follow the halftime show, I do the second half thing. And we were talking about the game, man. We talked about so many other different subjects because there was nothing really to talk about. Derek Carr gets knocked out of the game. Give him credit for putting it all on the line, trying to dive over the top, trying to fight for his team. Okay. But the majority of the time, I couldn't tell the difference. Derek Carr looked terrible. Checking the ball down, check down Charlie as he is, nickel and dime, penny and quarter his way down the field for absolutely nothing. And this has been the reality of the New Orleans Saints throughout this entire 2024 season. The fact is, you have these car stands out here that want to come at me and say, man, Derek Carr, man, look, according to Pro Football Focus, Derek Carr is ranked number 3 when it comes to quarterback efficiency. He's ranked number 2 when it comes to this passing yards here. He has a touchdown interception ratio that most quarterbacks wish they can have. All this stuff right here, as if I don't watch the football games, as if you don't watch the football games. Like we don't see this dude out here being the average Joe. And it doesn't matter if you throw the ball down the field 10 times or you check it down 10 times. If you connect out of eight passes, right? Let's say you throw 8 passes and you complete 4 out of those 8, rather you're throwing the ball down the field or you check it down. It's still 50%, ladies and gentlemen. And Derek Carr has been living in checkdownville for a very long time. And those numbers and those analytics will say that Derek Carr is an efficient quarterback, but the only thing he's efficient at is checking that thing down. You got to give credit to the New York Football Giants defensively. They showed up. They showed up. The Saints weren't able to run the football as Puka Nacua runs into the end zone for a touchdown. They weren't able to run the football. I'm talking the Saints. The defensive line of the Giants were able to stop the New Orleans Saints from really being active. I think that this game kind of shocked the Saints. I think they thought they were going to go up to the Meadowlands and the Giants were going to be teetering and they would just be able to run their offense and run their defense and get that get-right game. But the Giants had something else in mind. And if there wasn't some bad breaks or some undisciplined play, the Saints would have lost this football game. The Giants returned the punt for a touchdown that came back because one of the gunners ended up holding cornerback Rico Payton. They made a field goal. Graham Gano kicked a 48-yard field goal. But one of their offensive linemen decided that he wanted to be Brian Breaker and give a guy a belly-to-back suplex. He gave Peyton Turner a belly-to-back, and it was a 15-yard penalty. So that knocked 10 points off the board. 10 points. So the Giants could have won this game 21-14. But woulda, shoulda, coulda, in the words of Jim Mora, they didn't. So the Saints were able to get this victory, and this is going to keep the Saints' hopes alive and have them completely trying to battle and fight and scratch and claw them way to a victory. But we all know what the deal is, man. If Derek Carr isn't able to play next week, the Saints' chances of beating the Washington Commanders were already slim to none. You basically got to say they have absolutely no chance, right? I wouldn't pick the Saints if Derek Carr was winning this game. So I definitely wouldn't be picking the Saints if Derek Carr isn't able to play, right? And that's saying a lot without saying much at all, because I don't really have that much faith and belief in Derek Carr being able to help the Saints win anything. But unfortunately, the Saints have some young, inexperienced quarterbacks that aren't ready for prime time. And let me go ahead and read some of your comments. I do want to acknowledge the donations here. First, Michael, thank you very much for the 199. Says so many fans happy with Purgatory. Let's see. Copyright strike, fool, says John Cena. Nah, definitely not a copyright strike. You know, you can sing the song, but playing a song, you get a copyright strike. Or they'll just tell you, like, most of the time, like if I play a certain song, then you just end up sharing the revenue with the person, which I have no problem with. I have no problem with, sharing the revenue with the channel that put the song out there. But I'm not gonna shortchange the content, if I feel a certain way or decide that I want to play a certain song for the countdown, what it is. Jameis is better than Garbage. We are 5-8. Be grateful. JSU Prime. Yeah, Jackson State University. The Jackson State University. Shouts out to all of those Jackson State University Tigers out there. And shouts out to all them Southern University fans that just so happen to roll up on the channel, support the channel. Thank you all very much. Wanted to talk a little bit of noise, but guess what? A Southern Jaguar can't tell me nothing. My Jackson State Tigers are on their way to the Celebration Bowl. Hopefully, they can snap this losing streak that the SWAC has not been able to knock off the MEAC. Hopefully, they can be able to do that, but it is not going to be an easy game. South Carolina State is really good. Cool Shades, I wish I could make $150 million and suck. I mean, look, $50 million for a guy that gives you about $20 million worth of production. Let's see. Our defense is still trash too. People came saying it's no worries with this defense. Kept telling people this defense not it. Yeah, they definitely not it now, that Dennis Allen is gone. I mean, Joe Woods is just there for title. Let's see. Do a toss play on 3rd and 1, same play that got Taysom hurt, quarterback sneak or something. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't mad. Like me personally, the play that got Derek Carr hurt, I wasn't mad at the play. I mean, nobody expected that. Nobody expected an RPO with Derek Carr. I know I didn't. But, you dive over the top and then all of a sudden people are going to be like, man, that's the reason why you shouldn't call that play. I'm speechless to even think about Carr next season. Yeah, man, I think whoever comes in, I think that Derek Carr will start the season as the starting quarterback, but I think he'll be on a short leash. TC Taylor for Saints head coach. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. No, sir. You gotta keep TC at the alma mater, man. What about this play calling? Oh, yeah, I already read that. Man, the Saints are horrible, and the Giants aren't a NFL. I guess you mean are an NFL team. Yeah, man. Look, as long as the New Orleans Saints go out there and they feel like it's something to play for, they're gonna play for it. But I will say this. This is an indicator of what this team will actually be if they actually become good. And allow me to elaborate with this. We're not seeing them quit on the field now, right? We're seeing them keep fighting and scratching and clawing. So when they definitely have something to play for, they're going to give it their all. So to that, I got to respect. But at the same time, you got so many issues on his football team. And you have to wonder, like, are you basically just setting yourself up in 2024 for even more failure? Do you think Hard got be here, TJ? Do I think he has to be here? Well, I think because of the salary that he has, the $50 million, and I think $51 million if he's not on the roster. I think more than likely he'll be there. Because you don't want to pay a guy $50 million. I mean, unless you like the Broncos. The Broncos just ate that cap hit. They ate it. They ate it, and they were able to draft their quarterback of the future at Bo Nix. So now you got a couple of years to get yourself in the black and make yourself competitive because you got a young quarterback on a rookie deal. So unless you're going to do something like that, like if the New Orleans Saints, let's just say, for example, okay, they got the 11th pick, right? They got the 11th pick right now. If they decide that they're going to move up with a team, give up a player, give up their next year's first round draft pick to try to acquire somebody like Shadur Sanders, then okay, right? And you cut your losses with Derek Carr. If you want to do that, fine, whatever. But I don't see that happening. Not with this organization. Kubiak is predictable. Alvin Kamara is not Earl Campbell. 3 yards of the cloud of dust won't get it done. Well, that offensive line did not have their best game today. They were not blocking well for AK. And he's definitely not Earl Campbell. But I just think that, man, like the Giants are a really good team. They have a really good defensive front. Like they're a really good defensive front team. Like they have a really good team defensively. Like their defense hasn't been an issue. Like if you look at the sack numbers, like they're a top 3 team in sacks. And, like when you getting pressure on a quarterback and stuff like that, man, look, they were able to get that penetration and be able to stop the run. So that didn't surprise me at all. Giants stink and Saints stay putting cologne on musty bodies, as TJ say. Yeah, they stink. Yeah, man. I mean, the Saints definitely give teams confidence, right? The Saints are like that person that just gas up the best friend, I mean, they shouldn't have that outfit on. It's not their color. It's not their style. It don't really fit. And you just constantly gassing up your homeboy or your homegirl. Like, oh, man, hey, dog, you fresh in that, man. That's what the Saints are doing right now. Gassing these dudes up, making them believe that they better than what they actually are, and they are not. Hey, TJ, Mr. Recap, did you say that the Atlanta Falcons lost 42-21? Yes, I did. I actually went on a whole little spiel, so if you want to wait to the end of the show or you want to go back and rewind, you can see what I said. Yeah, but them boys terrible. You truly believe Ben Johnson can come in and be an elite for years to come? This is what I feel, Nola. This is what I feel. And shouts out to Nola, man. Nola always has like really good dialogue. But I want to make this very clear, right? Because sometimes on social media, on X and Blue Sky, you can't really put things into context. And when you say certain things, people are like, man, nah, bro, we don't know what you're talking about. I want people to get what I'm saying. Everybody is lobbying and saying that Ben Johnson is just a shoo-in for the Bears. To me, I don't see him going to the Bears. I do not see Ben Johnson leaving the Detroit Lions and going to coach the rival team that he has spent years trying to be competitive and trying to legitimize the Detroit Lions in the NFC North, only for him to try to go to the rival team to tear down everything that he's built. Unless he just has an issue with Dan Campbell and he just don't like him and you don't feel like he's getting the credit for being a good coach, which a lot of people feel like he is one of the main reasons why Detroit is the way that they are right now. They like Dan Campbell's fire and his riverboat Ryan type mentality, but people are always giving Ben Johnson a credit for them being as explosive offensively as they have been. So I don't see that happening. I don't see him going to the rival team. That's like, I don't know, man. That's to me, it's like, let's just say for, out of the sake of argument, P. Carmichael, right? Pete Carmichael still was, with Sean Payton leading all of those high octane offenses, right? But let's just say, for example, Pete Carmichael was calling the plays most games, and Sean Payton would call some plays, and they both you got a larger sample size to see Pete Carmichael could be the guy. Could you see Pete Carmichael leaving the Saints and going to the Falcons? I can't. So I don't feel like, if you want to make an argument, they got Caleb Williams. Yeah, okay. But Jacksonville is probably going to fire Doug Peterson. They got Trevor Lawrence. Zach Taylor is probably going to get fired in Cincinnati. They got Joe Burrow. You get what I'm saying? So there could be more like compelling spots than that. But all I'm saying is, what I feel about Ben Johnson, he seems like he got things kind of, put together. He doesn't want to work in clutter. You ever tried to work in clutter? Like, it just don't feel right. You're bumping all into stuff. Look, man, let me move this stuff out the way, man. Let me sweep this floor. Let me make things presentable so I can think straight. He wants to go into a positive situation. And you may not feel that way because the Saints have had some hardship, but the Saints are, a respected organization. We feel like, the Saints have been losing football games, so they just terrible. If Ben Johnson goes to the New Orleans Saints, it would make sense. The Saints are going to give him the opportunity to succeed. We seen Mickey Loomis basically had to be pulled out of the room in order for Dennis Allen, mediocre tail, non-coaching behind, to get fired. So he's going to give Ben Johnson as much time as he can. Also, the NFC South. Listen to me, folks. The NFC South is terrible. It's awful. It's a bad division. It's anybody's guess. It's a low-hanging fruit division. You can be 2 games below 500 and win this division. So that means that if you have a coach that knows what the heck he's doing, that he can take what you actually have, dealing with the salary cap issues, and putting it together and coming up with a game plan. Because we have seen throughout this 2024 season, it honestly has come down to schematics and the Saints' ability or inability, in this case, to be able to make adjustments in the second half. So imagine what can happen if the Saints actually had a coach that was competent enough to be able to make those adjustments in order to put his team in a position to succeed more times than not. You can find yourself being in it towards the end and also appeasing a fan base, because the fan base only wants to feel competitive. That's all they want. They want to feel competitive. So if you can actually put a team together that is competitive to be in the thick of things throughout the years, while you're dealing with the salary cap issues, it will give people and you will give teams the patience and a fan base the patience in order to see it through. If you are winning a division at least one out of these 2 years that you're still dealing with bad contracts, guess what? You feel like, number one, you got the coach that can actually help you navigate through these uncharted waters. And now you've got a coach that can do something now that your salary cap issue is fixed. It's not a bad spot. We look at the salary cap, and most of the people that's got something to say, they're like NFC South fans like the Falcons. And we all know where that's coming from. That comes out of fear. They don't want Ben Johnson to be the head coach of the New Orleans Saints because they're scared. They know that Raheem Morris isn't that good. If you're Tampa, you know Todd Bowles isn't that good as a head coach. I mean, Dave Canales got Carolina playing pretty formidable, but they still got some things that they need to work on. It's not a bad situation. You're talking about the cap. Okay, fine. But if you have competitive guys that can be on the field and you can map out a game plan, and you got an organization that's willing to give you everything that you want, that's not going to give you blowback. You don't have an owner all up in the videos, all up on the press conference desk, all behind the podium, trying to get their shine on. You know, like you have the unwavering support of a front office. It's a good spot, folks. I'm sorry. Like, look, it is a good spot. If you want to talk about aging players and all that kind of stuff, but they got aging players, but they still competing. They're still competing. It's not like they just not, you know what I'm saying, not making plays. And you combine that with a really strong draft. If the Saints have a strong draft, hear me out. If the Saints have a really strong draft, they can get themselves out of this situation. Don't believe me? Take a look at the Detroit Lions. Take a look at them. After the year where Jamal Williams ended up, you know, that final game of the season with Green Bay, all they had to do was beat the Detroit Lions and they would have been in the postseason. So I want to say, what was that, 2022? And the Lions beat them. But you think about the Lions, what did they do? They went out, they had a really strong draft. They got Jahmyr Gibbs, they got Jack Campbell, they got, you know, all these other different players, you know what I'm saying, to add to their team. And they built around those guys. They built around them. And those guys are cornerstone players for those guys now. Aiden Hutchinson, Jack Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jameson Williams. These guys are cornerstone guys. So they drafted really well. Amon-Ra St. Brown, all these other dudes, like they built through the draft. You got Jared Goff as the trigger man, but you got Malik Hooker, Hendon Hooker waiting in the wings. I mean, you draft well, you get yourself a really good draft, and you combine that with, you know what I'm saying, with some solid players that you already had throughout the years, you can get yourself out of this situation. People act like you talking about the Saints in the NFC North or something. This is a bad division. This is a bad division. Like, when things are going bad, we have a tendency of looking at all the bad. We old. We don't have draft picks. We ain't got this. We ain't got that. I'm telling you, man, if you draft well, you get yourself a coach that can strategize, that can use what he had. 2006, the New Orleans Saints went to the NFC Championship game. That wasn't a good football team. If you look at that Saints roster, the Saints had no business being in that position. The Saints were out there with a 7th-round draft pick out of Hofstra who played tight end that they moved to wide receiver in Marcus Colston, overachiever. You had Reggie Bush, Terrence Copper. Who you had? Dante Starr. Like, you had a bunch of guys defensively. Scott Vegeta and Shanley, some cast off from the Browns and the Cowboys. Like, you had some Cowboy cast offs. But guess what? You had a coach that was able to strategize in Sean Payton and utilize those players, using those reverses with Devery Henderson. You get what I'm saying? Like, using the old veteran Joe Horn, using a guy that was towards the end of his career, and Deuce McAllister, to compliment Reggie Bush. Like, they used what they had. See, we're looking at that. Joe Horn was on his way out. Deuce McAllister was on his way out. Couple defensive guys that have been around the block a few times, they were on their way out. But guess what? Sean Payton was able to utilize them. That is what I'm telling people. We have a tendency of forgetting things when things go wrong. But that was not a really good football team in the New Orleans Saints. That was a team that just had a lot of heart, and they had a coach that was able to strategize. You can't tell me that the Saints can't do that again. They had no business. If anybody followed the Saints back in 2006, they had no business being in that position. No business. So you're not going to convince me. You're not going to convince me that if you get yourself a coach that can be able to strategize and mobilize and analyze situations, that you can't find yourself winning the NFC South and be competitive until you get yourself back to where you need to be? See, we don't think like this. Like, people want to go back and forth and just, tell you that you're wrong. I don't just sit up here. Like, people are like, oh man, this is just clickbait. I ain't trying to clickbait nobody. I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I feel like I got enough talent in my body that I don't have to clickbait. I feel like I can keep people, focused. I don't have to resort to clickbait. I don't have to do that. Everything that I say, I can back it up with some type of logic of thoughts as to why I come to that conclusion. Number one, I got instances where I saw it before. Like, I saw this happen before. So there it is, man. But long story short, Ben Johnson can be the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. But want to say thank you all for checking out the State of the Saints podcast powered by BETUS. Sign up today. Get up to 150% on your first deposit, up to 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. If you actually bet on the Giants to actually cover, they did. Like they were supposed to be a 5-point underdog. So there we go. Let's see. Can we trust Loomis to make the right decision for the Saints, or will G King have some say? I guess you mean Gail Benson. You talking about Gail Benson? And Gail King is Oprah's best friend. TJ, realistically, does this performance hurt Rizzy's chance to become the head coach? No, it doesn't. Because one of the issues for the New Orleans Saints was their inability to be able to close out games. And they were able to close out games. But if I'm a betting man, I don't feel like Darren Rizzi is on Mickey Loomis's radar. I don't. Because Mickey Loomis kind of strikes me as a prideful man. And his pride, he don't like to put to the side. So with every win, it's making him look bad as a general manager. Because remember, when Dennis Allen got fired, he went on WWL radio and said it was the injuries. And I really feel like Dennis Allen is a really good head coach. So we're seeing the Saints win under Darren Rizzi in situations in which they probably would have lost with Dennis Allen as their head coach. So with every win, it's making him look bad. And honestly, I don't think he wanted Darren Rizzi in the first place. Well, I know he didn't want Darren Rizzi in the first place. I think we all know that. He wanted his man, Dennis Allen, because he felt like Dennis Allen is a great head coach. I mean, he up there with Chuck Noll and Bill Belichick. He just needs the opportunity to show that he is a Chuck Noll, Bill Belichick type coach. So I think with every victory, I think it basically is making him look bad because he was so adamant and he was so sure that the injuries and some of the things that would happen with the Saints was because of that. But you lose Shaheed, you lose Olave, and you got practice squad guys stepping up. You got tight ends stepping up. You got all these other guys making plays. Kind of hard. So I don't think, to me, I don't even think Darren Rizzi on his radar. I think if he is, it's kind of tongue in cheek. It's kind of in the back of his mind, like, okay, we'll cross that bridge when we get there type stuff. Boot Camp Kennels, thank you very much for the $9.99. Really do appreciate that. Big Mill, I love it. Says Loomis punching air with every game we win. Yeah, because like I said, I mean, he's proving them wrong. So, man, we know how these guys are, man. They spiteful. We seen Dennis Allen have Kendre Miller on IR, and this man out here running out his mind. He was the bright spot of the offense today. This man was the bright spot of the offense today. They had him on IR. People forget Rams got rid of Goff and Ben Johnson's scheme got him looking real good. Well, Jared Goff is talented, man. I mean, he's a guy that he's not going to make too many mistakes, even though that game versus the Texans, he made a lot of them, threw 5 interceptions. But I mean, he can't go on those streaks where he's not turning the ball over. And it does help when you got some really good playmakers on that team, guys that can get yards after the catch. Who will be quarterback against the Commanders next week? If Derek Carr can't play, I'm going to say Jake Hayner is going to be the quarterback. I would approach that game, Chantel. I would approach the game with whoever has the best week of practice. I would give both guys, Rattler and Hayner, the same amount of snaps with the first team. And whoever performs well or does the best, that is the guy that I'll go with. That's who I would roll with. I hope it's Rattler next week. Well, look, I wouldn't be upset if they gave Jake Hayner an opportunity to start, man. I wouldn't. We got the draft players that are legitimate at each position. No position should be off limits. I agree with that. I think that you need to get what's best for your team. I think that you need to get some guys that are known playmakers that we seen play on a high level, on a collegiate level, make plays. And the moment isn't too big for them. Don't be getting those guys nobody ever heard of because they tall and got long wingspan. Looks like Carr might have broken his left hand. Yeah, if he broke his left hand, there might be a chance that he might be able to play since he's right-handed, but I don't know. Depends on the severity of it. If he can play with like a splint or something. Let's see. New coach and quarterback needed. I like Darren Rizzi, but I still don't feel like what the Saints need to do and the direction where the Saints need to go, he is the guy. Like Darren Rizzi kind of reminds me of like Ed Orgeron. Like Ed Orgeron is, the fiery guy, that has the energy, make people laugh. He's a player's coach. Everybody like him. But, as we've seen over the course of time, Ed Orgeron's message kind of got on deaf ears. And, when adversity hit, you kind of have to wonder, like, it's okay, to keep guys motivated when you're in the thick of things, right? You can yell on the sidelines. Everybody gets a kick out of you turning red, like, oh, man, you fighting for us. But sometimes, man, you need that strategy. Sometimes you need that guy that's going to be able to be like, okay, man, this is a phone booth type game. This is how we're going to get out this situation. And I feel like that's something that Darren Rizzi kind of lacks. But, I'm not saying that he can't be a good head coach. I just think that the Saints need a little bit more right now. But I think that regardless, the way that he is coaching his football team, people are going to take Darren Rizzi serious during the time where he's going to be interviewing. I'm pretty sure his name is going to come up if the Saints decide that they want to go in a different direction. I'm pretty sure that his name is going to come up to be a head coach somewhere else. It's time to let all these young guys play quarterback, safety, DN, and a new kicker. Say we need a black quarterback. Look, I don't care if the dude black, white, blue, like Skeeter Valentine, as I often say. As long as he can play. I don't care what his complexion is. All right. I don't care. Right. I don't care about optics when it comes to football like that. I don't. Like, do I get a sense of pride, being a black man if I see an African American doing something, great? Of course. Like, just like if you white, you probably look at it like, man, it's pretty cool, right? You know what I'm saying? Like you seeing, some like seeing something that's very unconventional, like how well Cooper DeJean is playing at the cornerback position, which that is not a position that that white people often play. Like, seriously. Like, I'm just being serious. Like, or wide receiver. Like, when you see, I don't know, Ladd McConkey, or when Jordy Nelson was out there wrecking the league, like, it's certain position, Cooper Kupp and what he's been doing with the Rams. So, yeah, but to say that, oh, man, he got to be black, like, nah, man, I don't care. I don't care what color the cat is. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if he's black, white. Like I said, it don't matter to me. Long as he can make the plays and win, you know what I'm saying, win football games for my favorite team. Peace out, y'all. I'm about to go get in a Falcon stream and take us some Falcon fans off. Oh, man. Look, I think they already ticked off. I don't think you can make them more ticked off than what they already are. Let's see. If Rizzy retains the head coaching job next season, does he go with a new quarterback? I think that probably not. I think that he probably won't, but I think that he will probably have Derek Carr on the short leash. Yeah, start preparing Rattler. I don't know, man. I think that Jake Hayner might start. Derek Carr got a starting role in White Men Can't Jump. Got him, Jerry. Let's see. TJ, I feel the same way about the running back position and Christian McCaffrey. He is playing a position that is dominated by black players. That's all I'm saying, man. Like, we have this tendency of getting mad when people show a sense of pride in who they are. Like, man, like, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's nothing wrong in my, like, when you start talking about like having a superiority complex and all that, like, miss me with that stuff right there. Like, man, like, nah, bro. Like, miss me with that nonsense. But I can understand if you have a sense of pride looking and seeing someone that looks like you doing something that's unconventional. I understand that. I don't care what color you are. It's like, you know, when Jeremy Lin was out there playing for the Knicks, when Lin Sanity swept the nation for about 15 minutes. You know, as an Asian person, you're watching, someone of your culture, of your nationality doing that normally does not do that. Making, distributing the ball, making shots. I can understand you having a sense of pride with that. Like, it's no different. Like, if you watch boxing back in the day, like Rocky Marciano, right? When he was the heavyweight champion of the world, and, he'll win, he'll win those fights. He'll go back to, where he was from. And the people would just crowd him. Wouldn't have to pay for a ham and cheese sandwich at your local diner. Same thing with Joe Louis. Same thing with Joe Louis. The Brown Bomber, like, he'll go into those communities, man. This man will be a deity. So, I mean, you have a sense of pride. Like, it just bothers me when people get upset at individuals for having a sense of pride in self. Like, you should have a sense of pride in yourself. Like I said, I feel like the disconnect should be like when you feel like you have a superiority complex. Like, miss me with that. But you should have a pride. You should have pride, man. Don't let up on these Falcon fans on the round table, TJ, because Smitty disrespect the Saints every week. Look, man, y'all already know how I roll. Y'all already know how I roll. Y'all already know how I roll. Let's see. If you have a chance to get a black quarterback that plays like Derek Carr, a white quarterback who plays like Drew Brees, who you want? I want the white quarterback who plays like Drew Brees. Okay, like I said, I mean, we can't like just get wrapped up into optics. We just can't. Like, I'm one of them people. If I'm applying for a job and I did the interview, don't just hire me because affirmative action or something like that. Like, don't hire me because I'm black. Hire me because I'm good at what I do. I just so happen to be black. Right? I mean, but all in all, like, look, I would take the white quarterback play like Drew Brees. I'm trying to win, man. The Taysom Hill effect is real. Derek Carr gets free Chipotle. Man, I was really wrong about Mike T. I really thought a team was going to get so desperate for a wide receiver. Someone would have called him up, but I guess his IG posts and teammates cost him more than I thought. Well, look, he ain't hurting, man. The man made $100 million. He actually still making money from the Saints to this day. Sergeant says, you double talking, TJ. How am I double talking? 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 That's all I want to know. You always got one person in a group. You always got one person in the group that always want to, always try to double down or say something like, come on, man, say it. Say it so, say something that I didn't say. Say misconstrue something that I said. So, because, I want to know this. I want to know what you got to say. Go ahead. I just want to know, because say go back and read my earlier comment. Nah, I ain't got time. Copy and paste it. I'm not here to sit up here and get in no debates over something that I feel like just absolutely a waste of time. Let's see. Should we get more picks or move up? I wouldn't mind moving up, but I just feel like if you can get you should just draft where you're at right now. Just make sure that you do as well as you possibly can, with the picks that you have. Like, just do your due diligence. Why this Saints win feels like empty calories? Because I think we all know what the Saints are going to be. We know that they aren't going to win anything. We know that they're not going to win a division. I mean, it's just that plain and simple. Says, be respectful in the chat. Yeah, I don't know who being disrespectful in the chat, but please do. Yeah, I'm not in the business of trying to go back and forth with people. Like, I'm just not. Right? I didn't even celebrate this win at all. Like, I mean, the game was basically just on. And I wouldn't be watching it if I just wasn't a fan. I ain't do this show. Who do you think, TJ, is the next head coach of the New Orleans Saints to take this team to the Super Bowl? Well, hopefully, it can be like one of these other coaches out here that has a reputation of turning teams around. I mean, I would like Ben Johnson. That would probably be my first choice. You got some other guys that could probably go out there. A mentor, he's a defensive coordinator with the Chargers. Liam Cohen, the offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Like, his name should be considered as a guy that people need to have on their radar. He's doing a really good job out there in Tampa. So we have all 5 starters on the line since week. Let's play Rattler. Yeah, it's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a minute since that happened. That DB 0 can't be the best DB option we have because that boy couldn't cover a bed if he if he was a bedspread. Yeah. Yeah, man. But Ugo Amadi, I mean, he out there battling, man. He's out there battling. That's the best you got. That's the best you got. I didn't even pay my $20 Fire Stick bill to watch. Y'all give it up. Oh man, I think the Falcons, they might get themselves back on track. They got 2 low-hanging fruit teams coming through the spot. Do you think, in your honest opinion, sir, that Derek Carr's season is over? If I'm the Saints, like, why? Why would you come back? Like, your season up, man. This season is over, man. Like, this season is over. Like, done, over. Like, you ain't winning nothing. Like, why are you going out there, like, risking to injure yourself even further? Like, man, if you got to get surgery. You got to rehab, get your rehab, man. Like, no need to be sitting out here wasting time and wasting wasting energy. And like I said, you have opportunity. Okay, man, let me rehab this a couple of weeks. I have some soreness, but I'll be back and running. But at least I can be able to take my family on that trip to the Bahamas. You know what I'm saying? Like, I trying to get hurt. Like, I'm hurt. This could cost me further. I could rehab this thing. You ain't going nowhere, man. I got you, Ro. Heard me. Let's see. I just heard Flip Talk. You heard me and cut it quick. But Jay got you wrong. I don't know exactly what's going on in the chat, man. I don't know exactly what's going on. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened, man. But I ain't about to get into no debate. One thing that just bothers me, man. That just bothers me. Like I don't think anything that I'm saying is that controversial. It's having a sense of pride in self. Like have a sense of pride in yourself. Like Mickey Loomis is all in, so he wants to prove now that Rizzy is the next head coach. We'll see. Hopefully, with all the injuries this season, a key player should open the staff eyes. 11-man rotation won't get it. I agree, man. I agree. Carr said he don't want to be the reason we lose next game. Dive. Well, I mean, look, I'm not going to take that away from him. I mean, that was a gutsy thing that he did, trying to dive to try to put his body on the line for the team. And that's going to go a long way, man. Like, we may have our reservations about Derek Carr, but if you're in that locker room, man, that was a good pass. Like, if you're in that locker room, like, they're going to fire you up, man. I've been keeping track of Mike DeSouza statistics in college as a pro. It's true. If the starting veteran center is out, teams do lose, and it might be more than 80%. Yeah, I mean, that's the reason why he's out there. That's the reason why he's out there, man. It sounds like another Drew Brees show with the broken hand. I know it was said, but do you think Loomis' position at GM is safe after the season? Yes, I do. He ain't going nowhere. Why was Sergeant King timed out? What happened? I don't know, man. Apparently, I don't know. He had some reservations about a comment that I made in regards to but I don't feel like he should have been timed out, man. I don't feel like he should have been timed out. Like like put him back into the comments, man. Put him back into the comments. Don't like I just don't want to go back and forth. You're entitled to your opinion, but I'm not gonna go back and forth with it. I'm just not. I'm just not gonna do it. No, I ain't gonna say like I agree with what he's saying, but I ain't about to go back and forth. A flip talk with Lowell, who told you to go back and reread their previous message. You heard me. Just don't play behind TJ Round. Real talk. Look, I appreciate that, but I don't even know I don't even know what was said. I don't even know what was said, man. I get it and I appreciate that, but if they feel like I'm double talking, like I don't know, man. Sometimes, yeah, I feel like people really, feel that certain way, but also I feel like sometimes, like people just want to argue and go back and forth just to show, I guess, their debate prowess. But I don't even feel like there's nothing to. I don't even feel like there's nothing to go back and forth about. I don't even feel like there's nothing to. I don't even think there's nothing to go back and forth about. Having a sense of pride in yourself, no matter what, what color creed you from, but don't feel like you're superior over somebody else just because of that. Like, what's the argument with that? No, because Mickey has a chance to hire Rizzy, but choose DA. Riz was forced into the head coach position. Mickey wants to pick his own head coach. I don't see him. I don't see Rizzy being a head coach. I don't. Okay, no biggie accidents happen. Rams cooking the Bills. Yeah, man, they are. The way the Rams are handling the Bills, our loss don't seem that bad now. I mean, you are traveling across the country. I mean, through what, 3 time zones? Or 2 time zones, rather, to play this game. That's not an easy game for them. It's not worth it, TJ. Save your energy. Yeah, it's not really. Let's see. It's not that serious, man. We have fun talking sports. Carr might be out for the season. Let's see. The Carr experience is similar to the Jameis Winston experience, but Jameis just seems more durable. I don't know, man. Both of them been dealing with injuries, but I feel like the experience with Jameis is a little bit more exciting. I feel like we would have had a little bit more excitement in this game if Jameis Winston was the quarterback. Like, instead of being checked down Charlie all game long. Rams are all of a sudden playing like they are the greatest show on turf. yeah, I mean, Saints had a really good game plan last week. What demands do you think the new head coach would have? Probably just allowing him to fix the team, and if you've Ben Johnson, like telling, he just wants to know what went wrong and what the team is going to do to fix it. So, come on, Bills. Cartel Nola to the Grizzle. Carr stuck in preseason mode. Look, man, my final thoughts are simple when it comes to this Saints game. It's a win. They went up against a team that, to me, fought very hard. They really wanted to win this football game, but kind of got in their own way. And luckily for the Saints, they did get in their own way. They left 10 points off the board there, and that could have been a victory for the Giants. But the New Orleans Saints, they moved to 5-8, and now they have a matchup that means something versus the Washington Commanders. You got a teetering Falcon team. You got Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They look like they gotten pretty hot. So, but the thing about it is if you keep winning, Falcons keep falling, and, you find yourself playing against Tampa, that game means a little bit more to each team. So there you go. All right, but I'm going to go ahead and read some of these stats. Derek Carr, 20 of 31, 219 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Jake Hayner came into the game, didn't register any statistic except being sacked 1 time. Alvin Kamara, 17 carries for 44 yards. Kendra Miller, 10 carries for 32 yards. Derek Carr, 2 carries for 12 yards. You got Jamal Williams, 3 carries for 5. Marquez Valdez-Scantling, 4 catches for 51. Juwan Johnson, 4 catches for 50. Foster Monroe had a really good catch, man. That one-hand catch that he had, but he had 2 catches for 40 yards. He was targeted twice. Alvin had 5 catches for 35 yards. Cedric Wilson, 1 catch for 18. That's Cedric Wilson right there. 1 catch for 19 last week, 1 catch for 18 this week. Dallin Holker got in on the action. Holkermania is running wild. 1 catch, 10 yards. And I think you'll probably see more of Dallin Holker now that Taysom Hill is injured. I think you'll probably see him in the fold. So it's good to see him make a catch, man. I think that he was it did something to his confidence. Jamal Williams, 2 catches for 10 yards. Kevin Austin, 1 catch for 5 yards. They had 1 pass where Derek Carr rolled to his right. If he would have kind of got the ball a little bit lower, I think that Kevin Austin would have had a big-time gain there, or even maybe ran away from the defender because he had a few steps ahead of him. Dante Pettis didn't register anything. He was targeted twice. And you also had Derek Carr, who had a fumble, but he covered his fumble. Juwan Johnson fumbled the ball, but it rolled out of bounds. Ugo Amadi with 8 tackles. Demario Davis with 8. Will Harris with 6. Pete Warner with 6. Colin Saunders had 5 tackles. He also had a sack. Kool-Aid McKinstry had 4 tackles, 2 pass deflections. Carl Granderson had 4 tackles, 3 solo, and 2 pass deflections. That was because those defenders on the defensive front were putting their hands up, and Drew Lock, he kept on hitting them in the face with the ball. They kept on batting the ball down. So good on the defensive line. When they couldn't get to Drew Lock, they were able to get some pass deflections. JT Gray, 3 tackles. Alante Taylor with 3. Nate Shepard and Isaiah Foskey with 2. Brian Brzee had 1 tackle, but he also had 1 sack, 2 pass deflections. Of course, he had the block field goal. You had Peyton Turner with 1, Jordan Howden with 1, as well as Rico Payton, Kevin Austin, Cameron Jordan, Tyrann Mathieu, Cedric Wilson, and Chase Young, who almost had an interception in the game. Cam Jordan also had a pass deflection. So Demario Davis had an interception. I didn't agree with them saying that he gave himself up. Seemed like he tripped and got back up, and they just blew the play dead. So I don't know. I don't know about that. But I think the story of the game comes with third down efficiency. The Saints were 5 of 15 on third down, and the Giants were 5 of 19. So some really bad third down offense by both teams. Total plays, the Saints had 66 to the Giants 74. The Giants led in total yards, 325 for them, 292 for the Saints. They were pretty much equal when it comes to drives. The Saints had 14, the Giants were 13. Yards per play, they were identical, 4.4. Passing yards, the Saints had 200 to the Giants 213. Time of possession, The Saints had the ball for 31 minutes and 49 seconds, and the Giants 28 minutes and 11 seconds. So not too much separated the teams. Not too much separated them. Both of them had turnovers. Derek Carr threw an interception. Drew Lock threw an interception. So all in all, man, it was a bad football game, but the Saints got the victory. They move on to take on the Washington Commanders. Will they win this game? What is going to be the status of Derek Carr? We'll find out on this next episode of this roller coaster that is called Saints 2024 season. But thank you all so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, powered by BETUS. Sign up today, get up to 150% on your first deposit, up to 125% on your second and third deposit, up to $2,000. Use the promo code YouTube150. Follow me on X at TJAY-Jones8. And also you can follow me on Blue Sky at TJAY-Jones8. Take care of yourself. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Help the channel to grow. Till next time, all I got to say is,
thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast. Please subscribe to our channel.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. It's all dog around this mug. I'm good.